I am hearing that the APC could be looking at picking a consensus as a presidential ticket. Do you think that is, as a presidential candidate, do you think that is why we have the president said that we must be ready to go the way of consensus before the convention?
It would be more difficult. They can get away with it using, on
for the convention, for their party officials.
Yes, but for the primaries, it will be much more difficult because the stakes are much higher. We're talking of that candidate that the party believes will be able to sustain what they have right now. They want to retain the presidency. So the stakes are very high, as we can see, even the caliber of the candidate that have declared, and some others that are warming up to declare. Now, this is much more delicate.
But they've demonstrated that consensus is possible with this just concluded convention. Yes. Well, they were calling out aspirants on stage to discuss among themselves, to just discuss and give them one name right there on convention ground. They meant it that it must be consensus, and they got what they desired because the president willed it that way.
Correct.
He wanted it that way. What if he wants their presidential ticket to be zoned according to consensus?
He wanted it that way. But before the day of convention, he has already won the heart of other critical stakeholders who could be a problem in that pathway. He has had several meetings with the governors forum.
That's right.
And he had got them to align. Just 2 weeks ago, we saw the issue of Yahoo governors on one side and the other ones who believe they are not the Yahoo whatever. But somehow all of them were there at the convention because they had meetings with them and brought them aboard what he wanted to do. Will he be able to do that in the case of the primaries? I very much doubt, because the stakes are much higher. Some of the governors themselves are contesting for this for the primaries.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
It may not be as easy.
Well, you know that this
do a
thing is about
consensus.
horse trading. I mean, they strike deals. It will give you VP. Well, just let the president. Everything they were saying yesterday was that the president's candidate is Malam, and he got in. The other ones were just consensus based on trades here and there from geopolitical zones. But this one, if the president wants it, who do you think can say no in that party?
I think the governors forum can give him
A tough time.
a run for his money. Yes, they can do that. They are strong enough to do that, and they are the chief party financiers. Don't forget that as well. And some of them are actually already loaded for what is ahead. We know that those primaries, those delegates, they were also ready to vote on at the convention anyway. The delegates were there.
That's right.
The polling booths were already set up and
right.
all that stuff. So that in case there are situations in which consensus did not happen, then they can result to voting. In the case of the primaries, I wonder where that negotiation skills will come from that will make consensus candidate a possibility because of the stakes.
You think it's almost impossible to have consensus?
I think it's near impossible to have consensus. It's very, very impossible. And I heard that some are already kicking. There's a Tinubu group that has already kicked.
That's
against
right.
that. And if you look at that, that is a strong group. And they are not echoing their own mind. They are echoing the mind of the contestant.
What does that tell you, Gbolahan, of a possibility of a consensus move? If a group that supports Bola Tinubu the president has not said anything, no.
He has not said anything.
We've not heard anything, no. But they are already saying that the plan is to put Jonathan forward, which we'll come to in a moment. But what does that tell you about that rumor that it could be consensus for the presidential ticket primary?
They may want to try a consensus. That is legal. Like we have seen them do it more successfully, we can say, at least on the face of it, successfully for now. But I will go back to the stakes. You have a Tinubu who, on the scene today, is probably the most visible contestant who has been consulting north to south to everywhere, all over the place. to now say, okay, we're doing a consensus and you won't be that candidate. No. And don't forget, he's also a party founder. And what there's a name they call national leader of the party. So those are critical stakeholders, and how they feel about it matters. Then you now have the governors. You have some of them who are also contesting. Well, they've not declared interest. So
right.
The Primaries of this world.
Right.
Rufai seems to be interested as well. Some are mentioning Zulum. So there are governors who are interested in this. Now, if you now do consensus, you cannot afford to lose those governors. They deliver the states. They deliver the states.
But you know that majority of the governors, let me not say majority, but at least some of the governors are from the northern part. And we know how loyal northern politicians can be. So what if the northern politicians who intend to run in 2023 say, okay, we're loyal to Baba, so we're giving to the consensus? What does APC, what have they got to lose if they decide to scheme Tinubu, Fayemi, and all the southern aspirants after the entire equation in 2023? What have they got to lose?
They got to lose a lot. They have a lot to lose if they do that. Because what will happen is that you now have a whole lot of disgruntled. The party will go back to its element. It was a conglomerate, or we put together several bits and pieces to make what that party is. So if you approach it in that manner, there's a possibility that the party will go back to its default setting, in which those groups that make up the party will start to pull out, feeling disenfranchised or feeling cheated, and that will not go well for the election that they
for the party.
It will not.